Hello again, just John. Today, a little less of a pop culture rant, as more is talking about actually some more Taiji stuff right now. Um, we're talking about in terms of, if you think Taiji based on yin yang theory, complementary opposites. A lot of what we'll talk about too in with the body and with the breathing, you have the combination of the movement with the breath, expand and come back in. I'm careful how I say this, not only right here, but also when I teach, is that I don't really want to say expand and contract. Contraction has like a tightness intent to it. Open and close. Again, closing has almost a finality to it. It's shutting things down and blocking the ability for anything to pass through. So you think, I got a door, the door is closed, you can't pass through. It has to be open again. Therefore, more effort, more energy has to be put into opening it again, which takes away from the energy that you're gathering. It takes away your efficiency if we're just talking about a straight up Marshall principle in terms of how do I protect myself in the most efficient way possible. You're wasting time. You're sitting there fighting and and then you try and switch. There's that moment of change which a skilled opponent can then take advantage of. If we're talking about also in terms of the energy aspect of it, closing things off in sort of traditional Chinese thought means sickness. This is where we get things that mess us up. Blockages are what creates sickness, injury, ill health, dis-ease. So we don't really want to close either. Again, so if contracting has a tenseness to it, and closing is shutting things off. What's something else that we can use? I like gather. So expand and gather. So it almost has that sort of connotation of the cycle of seasons. We're talking about in terms of maybe even like farming or something like that. When you're getting your crops at, in harvest time and everything like that, you're not destroying the whole, you shouldn't be destroying your homeland if you want to keep using it later. And it's that same kind of idea that I think of, that I use for teaching it in my own mind for the internals, because it's all about or intent. Where is your intent? Where are you putting your mind? Where are you putting your thoughts? Because that is what will drive the energy. They say the mind is the general or the governor of the qi, the energy. So, if I'm thinking shut down, tighten, close, it's a wrap. It's not appropriate Nejiao Chuan or Nejiao Fa. It's not appropriate internals, because you've now started closing things off and building separation. I'll probably talk later on about separation in different ways as well, but just for this, I would say if you're thinking about, and again, the complementary opposites of yin and yang doesn't necessarily mean positive and negative and they have to fight. No, they don't. If you don't have positive and negative in terms of charge, there's no electrical current. If there's no ebb of the wave, there's no crest of the wave either. Men and women aren't completely separate species. They have to complement each other in order for these species to perpetuate. So in nature, we don't have enemies. This is the thing. You get that the one Marine guy from the Avatar Blue Alien movie. You see all these other things about people talking about nature and all this other stuff where it's like, oh, it's these things go and kill and it's hate and everything's trying to F you up or anything. No, it's not. It's a process. It's a system. Everything has a system to it. there's a system of right here. We have people walking their dog there. The dogs here start barking. The pug starts barking here. Shin has to get in all these. And it's not necessarily because, oh, I see a thing I don't like, I have to kill it. It's, we have the territory and we respect that. And we have to move in terms of the nature and the process. So if we think of expand and gather, this can help us with the proper intention that we need in order to keep everything flowing and moving correctly in with the body with it as well. And we're also thinking that we want to stay relaxed. We want to stay the whole body relaxed. Oi, excuse me. Come here, baby. Okay, here we go. So, we want to stay relaxed. Oh, okay, let me get your foot. Okay. So, if we stay relaxed, and we're not using, when we move in Taiji, Xingyi, or Bagua, or even in Qigong, we're using just enough of the muscle tension to actually just sort of move or hold the posture. We're not using it to issue power, and we still want to remain as relaxed as possible in order to facilitate, again, that unity of motion and the ability of the body to work as one coordinated unit. So in order to do that and still expand and then collapse, you can almost think of the body like a sphere or balloon. And to do that, you're using pressures, like liquid pressures in the body, in order to kind of hold it up. And then again, we're starting talking about expansion, and then we can talk about gathering instead of contracting or closing. So that's my suggestion. So that's my suggestion to help with intent if we're talking about that method of yin-yang theory within internal martial arts, Taiji Xingyi Bagua, is the expand and gather instead of expand, contract, open, close. You'll see expand, contract, or open and close in a lot of the literature and what people are talking about, but they're not talking about shutting things down or tension or in some way removing any part of the body or mind from the sort of unified whole that it needs to be in order to be used appropriately as an internal martial art, whether it be for health purposes, martial purposes, qigong purposes, spiritual development, whatever you want to use it for, meditation, all those things, it has to all coordinate together. If you play it mostly for health purposes, you need to know some of the martial principles. If you're playing it for martial, you got to know the meditative, the qigong, and the health thing or anything too. Or first of all, you're not going to be correct in it. Second of all, you're going to do more health harm to yourself than you're doing any good. And third of all, you just won't get it. So all those things, pugs included, right, buddy? Yeah. So all those things have to be there in order for it to be appropriate, in order for it to be correct. So we want to continue again thinking complementary opposites, expand and gather. And another thing I'll talk about later is the parts of the way I think of Qigong, and gathering is part in that as well. Almost again like a harvest idea. So that's it for right now. Expand and gather, expand and gather, expand and gather, complementary opposites. And I hope you have a good week. Remember to like, share, subscribe, get other people to do those things as well. And Shinigami also says bye.